Welcome back to this episode of the Low Bottom High Rise podcast. Ask Me Anything with me, Moira Kasaba, your host. I have been loving doing these short episodes and really just answering the questions you so desperately want answers to, that you want to ask. And so many of them kind of overlap and intertwine. But today's, and I've gotten a lot that are like this. And so I kind of want to touch on this because this is so important, you guys. So this is the question. They said, I know I want to be a coach and start helping change people's lives, but I'm so intimidated by how oversaturated it feels. I get on Instagram and I'm flooded with so many people doing it already and being so far ahead. Normal? ? Yes, very normal. And here's what I was telling my mastermind group the other day, because they're putting their coaching programs and their offers together. And a lot of them are saying the same thing, right? Like, Moira, I am so passionate about teaching, a lot of the same things that you teach: vision, reverse engineering your goals, radical responsibility, identity, energy, high performance, all of these things. There's a reason there are thousands of high performance coaches, right? There's a reason why, and this is what I did say to them. I said, think about this. The law of attraction has been around for thousands of years. I don't know who wrote the book on it first, but I love to study like the original people from, hundreds of years ago that have written on it. But if one of them said hundreds of years ago, like, I guess no one else after me is going to teach this, like, then we wouldn't really know about it today, right? Like, we have to, and we as coaches especially, know how important this work is. All of the things I just listed off: identity work, vision, goals, how to manifest, right? There's a million people out there teaching how to do that. There are certain people that are going to connect with me on it. And automatically and organically, you are going to teach it in your voice. You are going to teach it in your own way. There are people that are attracted to your energy because of who you are, not what you're teaching, right? I can look at, I have so many different certifications and different types of coaching. And when I go about like getting, for example, my high performance coach certification, there's a million certifications out there. There's a ton of people teaching it. I was like, which person do I like just jive with? What person, when they speak, lights me up that I'm like, I want to hear more. I want to hear more. That's the person whose certification I want to go through, right? There are people at different price points. There are people offering high performance coaching for $100,000 a year. There's people offering high performance coaching for $99 for a weekend certification. Like, there are a million different things out there, and the market is never, ever, ever saturated. And I'm going to tell you this story. So I had two coaches that I was mentoring, one of which lived in my hometown, and then one of which lived 3,000 miles away in California. And this is a true story. On the same day, they both reached out to me struggling and needed some time to just chat things through. And I said, absolutely. I've got some drive time this afternoon, so we can chat at 3:00. And I told the other one, absolutely. I've got some drive time this afternoon. We can chat at 3:30. That's when I had a block of time to get on the phone. The first one lives in my hometown, and I have built a rather large coaching team in my hometown. And she said, this is just never going to work for me. And I said, why not? And she said, because every single person I know is already doing this, like with your team, or is connected somehow. And the market is so saturated here. Everyone already has done this, is doing this, and there's nobody left for me to help. And we talked through that. And then I got on the phone with my next coach, who lives 3,000 miles away in California. And she said, this is never going to work for me. And I said, why not? And she said, because every single person out here has never even heard of this thing. Nobody out here knows about it. Nobody out here is familiar with it. I don't have anyone out here that's doing it that I can work with and ideas back and forth with and mastermind at a lunch with. I'm all alone. And I thought, okay, so if this coaching thing isn't going to work for the person that is literally in the middle of the Mecca, surrounded by tons of high achieving coaches that she's in relationship with, that she has the advantage of working, physically next to, that she can go to coffee with, that she can pick their brain, that she can get mentorship from. If it's not going to work for her, and then it's not going to work for the person that's all alone, then I guess we're out of luck. Then I guess the coaching industry is over, right? It's never saturated. And I want to have some empathy for a second, because I did believe that when I started. I believed that the market was saturated, right? I just thought, there's no room for me. Everybody got in early, all of those lies that we tell ourselves. The coaching industry specifically, no matter what area you're looking into, is literally getting ready to blow up. Like blow up over the next 20 years to levels that we have never seen. We need coaches and mentors and guides more than ever. We are just, as a society, starting to open our eyes to the work, right? Think about this. There is a personal trainer, a yoga studio, a gym, a fitness something on every single corner, wherever you go. Do you see a coach and a therapist on every single corner, everywhere you go? Do you see people teaching mindset work? Do you see people teaching identity work? No. You might see it a little bit more on social media, because that's also the world you're living in. That's kind of what you're pushing the algorithm to show you. The market has barely been tapped. We just have to smash the idea that the market is saturated, and really think about that when it comes to social media. So my son, when I look at his Instagram, it's literally all sports. That's the only thing. If I scroll his Instagram, the only thing that pops up on his Instagram is professional sports, right? So he could be like, Mom, I gave up my dream of being a pro baseball player because there's just so many of them. I see them every single day on my scroll. I see a lot of coaches. God, that's a beautiful thing, right? People are doing this work. There's an audience for this work. There's a need for this work. That is a gift. That is a win. If I look at my husband's Instagram, it's like, silly videos and dogs. Like, that's the only thing on his Instagram. Silly videos and dogs. Your social media feed is pushing to you what you need to see and what you want to see and what they want you to see. So don't use that as your litmus test, right? The world needs coaching more than ever, and the world needs you. The world needs you as a coach, because you're going to do this in a way that is just by your nature, different than anyone else that's doing it. You can be teaching the same principles. You can be teaching the same frameworks, but you are going to deliver it. You are going to come alongside your people in a totally different way. And that is your superpower, not the thing that you're offering. You are your superpower. And the world is depending on you to get out of your own way, to smash those limiting beliefs and go freaking do it. So if you need a cheerleader, just hit me up, because I believe in you. So that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for joining us today, guys, on this episode of the Low Bottom High Rise podcast with me, Moira Casaba. Please keep your answers coming, or your questions, not answers, questions. I would love to know your answers too, and your thoughts on all of this. But show up in my DMs on Instagram, my emails in the show notes below. You can email me your questions there. Also, be on the lookout, because we're going to do some other series after this Ask Me Anything that involve you. That involve you sharing your stories with me, that involve your participation. So this whole solo second episode thing is absolutely always going to be a two-way street. It's not just me. I need your voice. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.